On today's show, our recap of the iRace4life seminar in Dallas, Texas.
Welcome to This Week Inside Sim Racing Late March edition. I'm Christy Rangi, sitting here with Sean Cole. This Week Inside Sim Racing is sponsored by iRacing.com. You can get 3 months for the price of 1 by going to our website at InsideSimRacing.tv and clicking that banner. So you might remember from one of our most recent episodes that we talked about Sean going over to Dallas for the iRace4life seminar. This entire episode is going to be devoted to just that one event because we just have so much to talk about. So Sean, tell me a little bit about the basics of the event. You know, where'd you go? How did it go? You know, all that stuff.
Well, like you said, it's in Dallas, and that's a long way from home for us here in Spokane. So after some crazy travel, I actually got there the day before, which was setup day, because there were going to be a lot of sim racers who brought their own setups. So that got everybody in there in the building, and you got to start meeting some of the people. And then from then on, it was just a lot of information, a lot of education, a lot of sim racing, and a lot of meeting people that have a lot in common with me, a lot in common with all of us sim racers.
Yeah, I know you also went to the one last year. How did it differ this year? You know, did you have more people attend, more presenters? I know you were one of the presenters, so that's really, really cool. Talk to me a little bit about that.
It was way bigger, 4 or 5 times more people, twice as many presenters, and it's one of those things where like things just build upon the past. So the first one got the name, got a little enthusiasm, and this time it was just way bigger, a lot more impressive, a lot more fun even. So
what about the sessions? You know, were they strictly ovals? Was it a lot of road stuff? You know, what was that like?
It was a combination of both. Last year, there's a little more focus on oval with a little bit of attention to road. This year, it seems like they split it up pretty much evenly. So if you wanted to get balanced car information or setup stuff, regardless of road or oval, you were going to get it there.
Cool. What about the sim racers that were there? You know, anybody you knew personally? Or?
There were so many people there. Some people that I knew from the year before, and that's one thing I love about these types of events, because you make friendships, and maybe you only know these people online, and then you meet them again or get to see them at an event like this. So, I mean, there are people I was looking forward to being there, people I was hoping were going to be there, and a lot of them were. And then beyond that, you had a lot of new faces. And the other thing that's great is it's sort of a mix of racers and even vendors. So there are a lot of people like that. Well, if you know Tom Hackey, who used to be on the show, he now works with CXE Simulations. He and Chris Considine were both there. Todd Cannon was there. That's CSD Pedals. You've got Mike Main of Main Performance PCs. He was there. So you had a lot of people. Pat Dotson, who is like a long-time sim racer who's had one of the more elusive products out there that we'll talk about later on a different show. But he was there with his GS4 seat. So really good mix of people, plus Scion, who put it all on, and a lot of good people and a lot of good friends of mine at this point.
Very cool. So, you know, what did you really learn? You know, you traveled all the way from Washington over to Texas. It's a really long flight. Why would people go to this? What's the appeal?
The appeal is twofold. It's the meeting people. It's the gigantic LAN party. So LAN where you know we all get in one room, we all race together. And as a sim racer, you don't get to race side by side with people. So that's an added element. And the other thing is, this is where you have some people who are extremely knowledgeable about sim racing. So David Cater is one of the best oval setup people in all of iRacing. And he's very generous with giving you information on how to set your car up. So for any of the oval guys, just getting a few moments to listen to him talk about the approach to a new track, where starting points for a setup, and the kind of changes you might want to make, which is huge information. Then you start getting into peripherals too, things that supported iBuzzer, iSpeed, even things like trading paints. So there's a lot of instruction on both hardware, software, sim racing, setup, you know, SimCraft, just so many different elements. So a lot to be learned whether you're a novice or a veteran.
Interesting. You know, talk to me about the actual racing. You told me that some people brought their own rigs, that they were local. That must have been so incredible to see.
It was the biggest lineup of rigs in one place that I've ever seen in my life. So there were about 20 different setups that people had brought from home. And secretly, everybody's waiting for the end of the day. So, I mean, these seminars are from dawn till dusk, or dusk till dawn, dawn till... Anyway, and then once all the seminars are over, it turns into racing. And it's just, again, it's that being able to race side by side. I mean, if you've ever been in a real paddock area, and whether you're a go-karter or a amateur racer or a pro racer, that experience of talking to the people you race against so competitively.
So what about the age group of the people who attended? You know, you told me there were some 17-year-olds and some 70-year-olds. That's a huge range.
It is a huge range. A lot of different personalities. People from all over, too. This wasn't just people in Texas. So there's a lot of diversity both in age and personality and even their driving setups and style. So that was a really nice thing. And what's cool about it is with that much diversity, we all have such a strong common bond that it didn't matter. It meant that the young guys were hanging out with the old guys, and there was, you know, they had a lot in common right out of the gates.
Yeah, cool. So what about, you know, was there somebody who was really young in particular, or?
Yeah, Ryan Lizza, who is 16 years old. What's even more impressive about this guy is he's like an up-and-coming iRacer who kind of has a lot of the upper field guys, upper grid, really nervous because he's a really strong racer, and everybody's kind of putting a finger at him. So he shows up, and a lot of people are like, there he is, there he is. And
he's like a celebrity.
He was definitely a celebrity. And I got a chance to sit down with him and actually talk, because I was wondering, how did he stay composed? Because these were some grown men kind of pointing a finger at him even, and putting him on the spot. So it was really interesting to hear what he had to say about it.
Well, I can't wait to hear that interview. So let's take a quick break, and we'll have that for you when we get back.
The T500RS wheel and pedal set from Thrustmaster, officially licensed by Sony in Gran Turismo 5 and designed for the most die-hard racing fans. It has unmatched power and precision, it's backlash-free, and totally responsive. With this wheel and pedal set, users will go farther than ever before in their racing experience. To find out where to purchase the T500RS, visit www.thrustmaster.com.
I'm here at the iRace4life.org event, and I actually have the privilege of meeting one of the younger iRacers here at the show. And what's your name?
Ryan Lizza.
Ryan Lizza. And I've been hearing your name buzzing all over this place because apparently you have a lot of these older racers kind of spooked.
I think so. A lot of them were expecting me to, one of them told me that they expected me to be some kind of Duck Dynasty looking dude, and they were really kind of surprised when they saw who I really was. Right.
Did they know that you're a younger gentleman?
Most of them did, and I had a few of them that, like Gabriel, he thought I was like 30 or 40, he was saying, but I'm just 16, I'm just a kid having some fun.
Awesome. How long have you been iRacing?
Since May of 2010.
And how'd you find it?
I actually had one of my legends, my fellow competitors in the legend, and he told me about it. He's like, they had the legends on here, and you do, like they put some emphasis on safety and not wrecking everything. So I was like, all right, I'll check this out, and I got on it, I liked it, and I just improved and improved a little bit, and I just got into the legends, and I raced them for about a solid year on iRacing before I started moving up.
Right. And when you got there, did you find it easy? Did you find it hard? I mean, what was like first moments?
It was definitely hard at first because I didn't know what I was doing, and so I mean the first few races I don't even think I finished. Right. And then I just slowly started. All right, I need to finish some races, and I slowly just got better and better, and I finally just worked my way up and learned the cars. Okay. So like I mentioned, you have most of this crowd a little spooked. You've moved your way up, so not a long time, but what point are you in your iRacing career now? About the max I can be. I'm trying to go pretty heavily now. I'm trying to get into the Pro Series this season, and it's looking pretty good right now.
Right, and I understand you're pretty high up in the rankings as well. Where are you at?
I'm currently 3rd in the oval rankings.
Behind who?
Ray Alfala and Jeff By Jr.
That's some pretty high company right there. So if everything goes well, you should be running against those guys by next season. Is that correct?
That's what I'm planning for.
All right. So Ray Alfala, 2-time defending champion, $21,000 in his pocket, 2 NASCAR championship rings. What's it going to be like stepping onto the track with him?
It's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy the new level of competition that's going to be brought out in that new series, and I'm just going to, so if I make it there, I'm just going to want to try to solid top 10s. I'll be really happy with that to start out with, and maybe see if I can start competing really heavily with them guys. Right. Can you imagine being a NASCAR champion? Kind of, sort of. I mean, it's kind of far out there right now, at least until I make it into DWC, then I'll start considering that stuff.
Okay. Now, you are not just an iRacer. You mentioned you're already running some Legends in real life. What's that like?
It's a blast. Legends are really fun to drive, and I enjoy it. And so right now in my career, trying to go from Legends to late model is kind of difficult for, I know, a lot of people trying to find a good car to get, and it's just tough trying to transition from car to car.
Right, and you're looking to step up into the late models. And what do you think that'll be like, transitioning from the little car to the big car?
I've heard it was going to be not too much for me. If it's, a bunch of people have told me if you can drive the Legend, you can drive anything, which I know that's kind of just hard to say, but late model, I know a bunch of people that have went from Legends to late models and they've had success, so I'm thinking I can follow in their footsteps, kind of.
Right, okay, cool. You're a real young guy. You're taking sports and hobbies at a very, very high level. Most of the people you're running against have been doing this very long time. Most of them are probably a lot older. What's it like being a young guy in a hobby or a sport that's predominantly older?
It's difficult, I would say. I mean, I enjoy it because it's not all kids, and it's, say, more maturity, and it's helped me to be more mature in my, not only racing, but just all around my life, and I think it's helped me.
Right. And what kind of reaction you get from the old guys when you beat them?
It depends on maybe how I beat them. If something happens, then it's usually not too good of a reaction, but I think I'd like to say I'd have some mutual respect in iRacing at this point and try to race everybody as clean as I can.
And then when it comes to competing with the guys like Ray Alfalla, I mean, are you great at setups? I mean, it's not just driving talent. These guys have huge teams, really good setups that they're depending on, and I think that's a big part of their success.
Yeah, it's really tough, to be honest. I mean, they work really hard on setups, and a lot of weeks you really won't have the speed, and it's tough. It's just a huge team effort most of the time, and you just got to put in the time, and most of the time it'll pay off.
Right. What team are you with right now?
Mayhem Motorsports is a new team that kind of started up with me and a few of my old buddies that we worked really well together, and now I can trust them.
Right. Cool, cool. And so what's in store for you in the future?
Hopefully the Pro Series and DWC, which is looking good, but I don't want to get too, say, cocky, but I don't want to get too set on it and say not make it, but I'm just taking it one step at a time.
Well, where are you in the points in the Pro Series? It's running right now.
Currently first, but you never know.
And the top 10 make it, right? Okay, so you're looking pretty good. And from what I've heard about you from everybody out there, I think everybody pretty much thinks you can do it. I've heard a lot of confidence in your driving ability, and actually it seems that you have most of this crowd kind of spooked you know, if I had to guess. So one last question for you. What's your setup at home like? What are you racing on?
I have a G27 and G27 pedals, a play seat, 3 screens. It's not the usual hookup. I have a 32-inch in the middle and 2 24 inches hooked onto TV dinner stands. Kind of just do it our own sort of way that works for me.
Right. Very cool. Well, Ryan, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
And I think we'll all be kind of following your career, both in real life and in iRacing.
So Sean, you got to sit down with him. I mean, you know, he could be potentially famous someday. What was that like? Was he nervous? Was he gung-ho?
He was a little bit nervous, you could tell. We did a little bit of pre-interviewing just to kind of put him at ease a little bit, but I was blown away because it wasn't just everybody there who was kind of focusing on him as being so up and coming, but just the whole interview. I mean, this might have been his first time ever being interviewed, and you know, he's also a real life racer, so chances are he's going to deal with this more in the future because he's actually pretty talented. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a case of, you know, we knew him when,
yeah,
and we'll be able to say we had him on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd have the first interview with him. So, well, next up we have the Sim Rig of the Week. That was Randy Freeman. He presented a couple of the sessions there, and you know, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
This is a rig that I've been waiting a year to see. So last year Randy was there and he told us all about this elaborate projection monitor system that was bigger than life. And when I walked in, I saw this bigger than life projector system, and I'm like, that's gotta be Randy. And sure enough, it was him. He had brought the whole rig down, and everybody was really excited to get in and try it out. But then I made him take me on a little tour of his rig.
Well, we can have Randy tell us a little bit about his sim rig.
Randy, very nice rig you got here.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, and it's a lot of work bringing it here, but I'm happy to do it. I've told people about it for years. They've always said, boy, I want to see that thing. I'd love to drive it. So this was a chance. I said, well, I'm going to bring it, so I made the commitment. So
excellent.
Here it is.
So where'd you come from?
Argyle, Texas. I'm about 30 minutes away from here in Dallas. So,
okay.
It was a lot of work taking it down and putting it up, but the travel wasn't too bad.
All right. And how long you been sim racing?
I've been sim racing for about 5 years online. Been almost about 3 years with iRacing.
Okay. And what's your favorite car?
Well, I run basically the Indy car.
Okay.
I will dabble a little bit in the stock cars, but only on the big tracks where I can control it.
Okay. Well, I am dying to see your rig, and I'm sure everybody out there will be blown away when they see what they're about to see. You want to just kind of start taking us through your whole rig?
Absolutely. Well, as you can see here from Think, I've got a aluminum rig here with a 3-projector system. It's made out of 2-inch square aluminum, which I got at a salvage metal place. I've got the 3 projectors. I've got an Epson 8350 in the middle of the projectors. Very, very good projector, excellent projector. I went with 2 less expensive projectors on the side. They're 720p. This is a 1080p projector. The rig is 10 feet wide, and it's 7.5 feet tall, and it's about 8 feet deep. The screen is a curved screen, 15 feet of screen material, and as you can see, the picture's taking up about 14 feet of that, and the screen is about 52 inches high, and as you can see, it's probably taking up about maybe 36 to 40 inches of that area there. The computer I have running it is a i7 860. I have a 7950 graphics card in there. I have a SSD. I have the 4th monitor set up for the sound system. I have a Crown 402 2-channel amplifier and 2 mini speakers for this presentation. At home, I have PVPR 12s that I sit behind the screen that pretty much blast anybody out. I have SimVibe set up. I have 4 butt kickers on either end of the sim. I'm running the SimVibe software. The hit of the last 3 days has been the wheel. I have an ECCI 7000 wheel, and everyone wants to drive it just to drive that wheel. Everyone that's driven it has said it's excellent. They are very impressed with the wheel. Of course, I've got the Todd Cannon pedals underneath. So as far as I know, I have state-of-the-art equipment. Also have a rigid steel frame here, which is going to be my next project to upgrade that. But once again, Todd Cannon made the steel frame. It's very heavy, it's very rigid. It needs to be reduced in weight a little bit.
Very cool. Well, this is absolutely an exceptional rig. How long has it taken for you to kind of get to this point with rig, or how many phases have you gone through to get here?
Well, this is phase 5. Really, like everyone else when they start iRacing, I started on a laptop, and then I said, well, I need a big screen. I got a 37-inch screen. And then I heard about 3 screens. I said, oh, well, so I went to 22-inch 3 triple screens. I said, oh, that's not good enough. So then I went to 37-inch screens. But the bezels just bothered me. So I finally said, okay, I'm going to go to projector. So I went to 1 projector, then 3 projectors. I had a flat particle board for 3 screens that I used for screens, and then the idea, well, no, I want to curve the screen for better effect. Well, once I did that, well, then I had to use an Enthusiasm software, which is the edge blending software, which makes it one continuous picture from left to right where there are no breaks in the picture. So this should be the final revision of the rig.
So now you can kind of just focus on racing again.
Well, actually, I've gotten to the point where I enjoy working on the rig more than I enjoy racing. I hate to say that.
All right, Randy. Well, thank you very much. I love your rig, and now I think it's my turn to actually get to drive it myself.
Absolutely. You're welcome to put in some hot laps.
Cool. Thank you.
So Sean, that screen looked huge. What did it look like in person? Was it as big as it looked on camera?
It might have even been bigger. I never even saw the edges at all when I was driving. It was It was like almost what your eyes naturally see. So even with my triple screens, I try to recreate it, but it's all zoomed in and close to me. This is out there, like the real world is out there, and it was so much. I need a setup like that for sure.
That's incredible. Well, you know, speaking about you, you were a speaker at the event. And you tell us a little bit about what you talked about. You know, I know you were supposed to do 2 topics and you ended up only doing 1, but go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm a long-winded guy, so I had 2 topics. The first one went so long, which was Sim Vibe, and it was kind of talking about it. And we've done a lot of setup stuff on the show here, but that crowd wanted some more detail. So we spent an hour long talking about Sim Vibe and going through all the different settings, extensions mode, chassis mode, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time, and after I had a lot of questions from the audience, Sim Vibe related and just general questions. So I had a great time presenting. Definitely not my normal thing though, being a presenter.
So no one threw tomatoes at you at the end?
No, but I heard some laughing going on.
Okay, well, that takes us to our last interview, which is Scion Alfred. He was the one who hosted the event. You got to sit down with him. What was that like?
It was a lot of fun. For some reason, our interviews always happen at the end when we're both completely tired. And to be totally honest with you, I think it was 3:30 in the morning that this interview went on because we had to wait till all the racing was over, till the whole thing was over. But that's the best time because then we can kind of reflect on how the whole show went.
Well, for any Friends fans out there, I'm not sure if anybody's noticed, but he kind of looks a little bit like Matt LeBlanc. So what do you guys think? Do you think he looks like Matt LeBlanc? Go ahead and comment in the descriptions part of this video. We definitely think he does, so we want to hear from you guys. Sean, let's take a look at that interview.
So I'm here at the iRace4life.org seminars, and we've kind of come to an end, and I'm here with Scion Alfred, who is really responsible and has put on this incredible show. Show isn't even a fair word. This has been an event extraordinaire, really. I mean, I'll just make an observation before we get started, but last year was really something, but this year was a completely different level. So, welcome on the show again, Scion. How you doing today?
Very good. Very good to be here. It's great.
So, we're now to the end of it again. We seem to always do these interviews after it's all happened. We've all been racing till, 4 in the morning each night, and we're all a little tired. But, so, looking back on it, now that it's over, how are you feeling about it?
I'll tell you, again this year exceeded our expectations. We were 5 times larger this year than we were last year. And you and I sat here last year almost in the same spot, talked about what was going to happen in 2013, and wow, we thought it might double, we thought it might triple, but we didn't realize it was going to be about 5 times as large.
Yeah, that many people, it really changes the vibe and energy of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of feedback, like even as the presenters, you could really feel the way people were getting involved, and I think the amount of people and that enthusiasm, it paid off in a lot of different directions. So one thing we did talk about last year was, kind of what we learn from doing these things, and how we maybe it's too soon, but and what we do in the future to make it even better. I know we're planning next year. You're planning next year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll have some dates for you probably by the time you have this edited. So
excellent. Any idea on what kind of new direction? I mean, have you learned? Is it too soon to tell yet, or?
No, not at all. We've a lot of guys. It's obviously iRacing is not a big community. It's a small group of guys. And there's so much camaraderie here. They've given us so much great input on how we could make this better, not only for them, but also for the entire iRacing community because of their connections. And so we've heard a lot of great suggestions. And for me, I realize structurally, we've grown so much. Next year we're gonna start at the basement. We're gonna build this thing up structurally so that the pieces and the parts all work together great, and it doesn't ride on the shoulders of 1 or 2 people. So we've got a lot of vendors that want to get involved more next year. That want to come set up more booths. So we had some great vendors this year, and I think next year I'm thinking we'll double in size, which probably means we'll have 5 or 6 times more vendors and support from the industry out there.
I agree. What's so great about the vendors you brought on, and a lot of the vendors in our industry, is that they truly are industry people. They're sim racers, really.
Exactly.
And so they're a great part of the crowd as a vendor and in the audience or as presenters. Let's talk about iRace4life a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I think we touched upon it last year, And this year, I think maybe it was a little more clear to me what the point and purpose of iRace4life.org is. And why don't you tell a little bit about it?
iRace4life.org is an organization that we started that is simply an organization that brings awareness to a community, which would be, for us, would be iRacers, that there are people out there that have needs. And here's how we do it. Every time a member of iRace4life.org wins a race, they donate $5, $10, or $15 to any nonprofit organization or charitable organization that they want to. They feel maybe it's Red Cross, American Red Cross, or maybe it's the Jeff Gordon Foundation, Richard Petty's Victory Junction, the Petty's Victory Junction Foundation, or if you don't know who to give to on our website, we have suggestions, people that we are intimately acquainted with, organizations that we know give. So if you go to our website, you'll see that you can sign up for those three levels, the $5, the $10, the $15 level, and we have a special name for them. Now, to make it clear, Sean, when you join iRace4life.org, you're not joining a team, an iRacing team. So a lot of guys were saying, yeah, I'm already a part of a team. Well, it's not really being a part of a team as much as it's being a part of an organization that you can now report to every time you make a win. Say, okay, I've given $5, $10, or $15 to this charity. We then record that, put it on our website, and keep a tally of all those wins throughout the year.
That's pretty cool. How does that play into the actual event that we have going on here? I mean, that's sort of me doing that online. I could do that without coming here, but it all is kind of intertwined.
It's all intertwined because this event is built around one word, and that is give. This event is, we as an organization, the church here at Gateway that was partnered to host this event, it's really, we're giving to the iRacing community. This doesn't cost anything. The food, as you know, is awesome and free.
Incredible food.
Lots of it. There's still piles of it in there right now. And but the free food, the free facility, just an opportunity to get other iRacers together and meet one another in an environment like this that's comfortable. It's a great facility. We got great tech and TA, IT people here to keep this thing going.
I'm blown away by the facility that we get to do this in, and it's just such a privilege, really.
So iRace4life.org and Gateway has teamed together to bring this conference and this seminar every year for just that purpose, just to bring that awareness. You know, today, Sean, I can't tell you how many guys came up to me and said, I get it. Giving is a lot better than receiving. When you give, it's a principle that's put into action that whatever you sow, you're going to reap.
I've heard so many people, and I'll be the next one in line doing it, but I heard so many people throughout this thanking you because this is a lot to be given. It really was. There was a lot of information, a lot of fun, a lot of good food, you know, a great place to do it. And what's great is, so in the end, it seems like you started to get back from it. So, you know, and that's sort of what you're talking about there a little bit.
Exactly. And, you know, seeing the smiles on these guys' faces and knowing that, you know, they were impacted from this weekend, the relationships that were made. It was just a lot of fun to see.
So totally bizarro, off the record or side question here, not off the record, but side. So I noticed the church had a group going and doing some cool events here that had nothing to do with us. They had like a Pinewood Soapbox Derby thing.
They did.
Were we an influence? Was our racing world an influence on that for them?
I think it is. I think before long we may take the big room, let them have the little room, you know. But
I hope that would be great.
But yeah, absolutely. The ministry here is growing, and the conference that we're able to come alongside with, which is what helps us with our expenses, is definitely catching on. Next year, I'm pushing for it to have a real NASCAR theme or a real racing theme, and maybe have some guys come in that are pretty well known racers and things like that. Maybe be a great combination.
Excellent. So at this event, do you have anything that stands out as sort of your highlight, or something that just was maybe the best moment or the best thing that happened?
Oh wow, I think there were several things. I think first of all, seeing there were, and I'm not going to name any names, but there were some iRacing rivals.
Yes. Yes.
That had never met face to face.
Yes.
You see their names and you've seen them for years, and these rivals probably have accused one another of some pretty bad crimes,
right,
in iRacing, and but to see them in the same room together, laughing over a Chick-fil-A sandwich, you know, giggling about the last tournament that we just had and laughing, to me that was really cool.
Yeah, there was some finger pointing going on.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, so let's talk about next year. The date's not picked. You know, this year it seemed like we had a lot more going on and at a much quicker pace. 2 rooms going. Yeah. So building for next year, do you like the way that worked out? Are you looking at bringing more to it? Or you think you kind of found it, but it's sort of just getting it all worked out?
Well, like I think that we will bring a little more to it. I don't think we can pack any more into the day.
Mm-hmm. No, no, we cannot.
I think we'd like to see, I think it was very successful this year. We added the road side of iRacing.
Yeah.
There was a good contingency, but I'd like to see that grow.
Yeah.
And obviously our oval side, David Cater and his group. But we also found there were some hidden people, talent right there in the room in those oval classes that I think we'll see that rise to the top next year, as maybe being some instructors that we can bring in. And I know there's probably some guys out there watching that, you know, hey, I'd really like to come and share what I know.
Yeah.
They're welcome to get in touch with us, and you know, this is about the community. We're not trying to build a name for ourselves, and so I'd like to see that. I think having the simultaneous road and oval was very good.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go in and tweak some things. I think some classes were too short, and maybe 1 or 2 were too long, but I think by next year we'll get this thing tweaked, and it's going to be a fine running machine. I think this year things ran a little smoother. We were able to stay on the clock and had a good time.
In every way, you can tell that you put a lot of energy building on the last one. And that's both the enthusiasm from the crowd and absolutely in the planning phase as well.
Right.
Scion, thank you very much. It was a privilege to be here, and I had a tremendous amount of fun, and I got to experience everything you did in the camaraderie, the rivalry, the meeting people that I've known for a very long time, and I think that for me is one of the biggest parts. I mean, there's so much education for me that I enjoyed, but meeting some of these people is just something you can't take back. You know, just to share one thought that somebody shared with me out there, but a guy came up and he's like, we're talking to a crowd, and he says, this right here is actually more fun than sim racing. And I don't think he literally meant it, but it was just that this was such a rare opportunity that we can do this every night, but we can't do this but once a year.
Right.
So I thank you for that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, Scion.
So next time, maybe you guys will catch up before the show instead of at the very end.
Or maybe I need to do 2 interviews, one at the beginning and one at the end. Because at the end, again, we get to kind of look back on what all went on and kind of reflect on it and talk some of the highs and lows and kind of just see how he feels at the end. Because, I mean, that's the one thing I'm going to say about Scion. He burns the candle at both ends. I mean, this guy is running ragged, making sure everything here goes on perfectly, and you can see it kind of wear on him over time. I mean, he does a great job, but it's just tremendous the amount of effort he puts. And, you know, it's really a case of him giving. I mean, I know there's this whole thing going on with the church, and so this is sort of going on at the same time, but the amount that he puts into this, and the food, the drinks, just the entertainment, the organization, the bandwidth to be able to do a 20-man land race.
Definitely.
So he really put a lot out there, and I'm very grateful and appreciative that he did, and I cannot wait till next year because it's going to be even bigger, I'm sure.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a really great time. So that's going to wrap us up for this week Inside Sim Racing. We really hope you enjoyed the show. Visit us at isrtv.com. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. I'm Christy Rankes. This is Sean Cole. Keep watching.
GT Chassis Racing Rigs provided by Human Racing. Go to humanracing.co.th.
Yeah, definitely. So what about the age group of the peoples who attended? You told me the peoples. Okay, let me ask you the peoples.
Good catch, because I didn't catch it.
I can't wait to hear that interview.
Snap.
Ah.
It's okay. Hey, at least I'm catching it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Sorry.
Did you see my face?
All right.
Okay.
3, 2. 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right.
Okay.
Just a quick transition.
Whew, okay. Okay. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
I keep doing it, which just makes me laugh.
I just can't. I'm not gonna look at your mouth because I don't want to start laughing. All right.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
So, okay, I need to breathe. Oh, okay.
2, 1.
Okay. It's just I catch you grinning, and then it just makes me like. 3,
2, 1.
I'll get there. I'll
Just
get
take it
there.
when you're ready.
Okay.
Take it when you're ready.
Okay. Okay.